On Sunday, Liverpool managed to beat Tottenham 2-1 by scoring a goal in the very last minute. As we could have expected from Pochettino and Klopp, it became quite a tactical battle. Liverpool started in their regular 4-3-3 shape, with Milner, Wijnaldum and Henderson in midfield. Tottenham was supposed to line up in a 5-2-1-2 shape, but rather this was a 5-3-2 shape with Eriksen and Ali on the sides of Sissoko. From the start of the match, Liverpool's fullbacks were in acres of space. This had two main reasons. The first one is that when playing a 4-3-3 against a 5-3-2, the fullbacks naturally have space when the wingbacks fall back. You can see here the space for Alexander-Arnold, mainly because he just doesn't have a natural opponent against him. The second reason had to do with the way Tottenham pressed the fullbacks when they did get the ball. When one of the fullbacks received the ball, the midfielder on the side of the ball would press him. The other two midfielders would go to the ball-sided Liverpool midfielders, with the far-sided centre-back going to the last midfielder. This allowed Liverpool's winger, in this case Salah, to pin back the Tottenham wing-back, creating a lot of space for Alexander-Arnold. Here, Eriksen steps out to press Robertson. Trippier goes to Mane, Sissoko and Ali on Henderson and Milner. Vertonghen goes to Wijnaldum, which allows Salah to pin back Rose, which creates space for Alexander-Arnold. In addition, when Tottenham went to a middle block, their zonal setup caused them problems. When they fell back into a middle high block, the midfielder on the side would again step out to the fullback. Sissoko now had to get into a covering position, also to take out the passing lane to Firmino, and he was usually dragged away as Liverpool's midfielders moved to the sides. This often created a lot of space for Henderson in midfield, as the space between Tottenham's midfield and attack was too big. Here's Tottenham in a zonal middle-high block with Sissoko getting into a covering position. Sissoko has to get into a covering position, and there's a lot of space for Henderson as Kane and Lucas are torn apart. And here he's followed the run of Wijnaldum, which creates a lot of space for Henderson in midfield. And here Henderson is again free in midfield as Tottenham's midfield and attacking line are too far apart. Because Henderson was constantly able to find this pocket of space, he was also constantly able to play the ball to the fullback on the other side. Henderson receives in space and switches the play to the other fullback on the other side. And again, he receives in space and switches the play to Robertson, which then allows Robertson to move up and give the cross to Firmino, who scores and makes it 1-0. The final part of Liverpool's build-up plan were the dropping movements of Milner. He often moved to the side to try and create 2v1s there. And here Milner drops to create a 2v1 on the side. Tottenham could often defend this by having Trippier follow Milner. Halfway through the first half, Liverpool went with a full rotation on the left side, which caused problems for Tottenham as both Trippier and Alderweireld were now 1 versus 1. And the distance to Milner was usually too big to cover for Eriksen. You can see here Liverpool have rotated on the side, which creates 1v1s for Mane and Robertson. To try and get a grip on the game, Spurs switched defensive system twice. First, they switched to a 5-4-1 diamond to have better access to Henderson, but this still caused them problems with the Liverpool fullbacks. At around the 35th minute, they changed to a 5-4-1 in which Kane took out the passing lane to Henderson. Attacking wise, Spurs weren't able to create much. When Liverpool pressed high, Mane and Salah would press Vertonghen and Alderweireld. Wijnaldum and Milner would be tight on Sissoko and Eriksen, who tried to receive. When the ball did go to one of the wing-backs, Robertson would step out to the left and Wijnaldum would press on the right. And you can see here Liverpool's forwards are pressing the 3 centre-backs, with Wijnaldum and Milner marking Sissoko and Eriksen. When Liverpool were in a middle-high block, the wingers would try to take out the passing lane to the wing-backs. Here Salah takes out the passing lane to Trippier. The few times Tottenham did create something was either because they overloaded a midfielder's zone or because all of Liverpool's midfielders were drawn to one side. Here Sissoko and Eriksen overload Milner's zone, which allows Eriksen to get free. He's able to get free as all of Liverpool's midfielders have moved to one side. In the second half, Tottenham switched to a 4-2-3-1. Vertonghen went to left back with Rose moving up. Sissoko and Ali would form a double pivot with Eriksen going to the right. From his right wing position, Eriksen would constantly move into midfield, which created a 4 vs 3 for Spurs. You can see Tottenham's 4 vs 3 in midfield here. And here Eriksen again overloads the midfield. Meanwhile, during defence, Tottenham switched to either a 4-4-2 or a 4-4-1-1, which allowed them to have pressure on the fullbacks and Henderson, which diminished Liverpool's build-up. To try and get a little bit more of a grip on the match, Liverpool then switched to a 4-2-3-1, with Salah as the sole striker and Wijnaldum on the right. However, just a couple of minutes after changing to this formation, the weakness was shown, as Kane dropped and received between the two defensive midfielders. He then gets a free kick which he plays to the other side, which eventually results in the equalising goal to make it 1-1. However, in the very last minute, in a moment of confusion after a corner, Alderweireld puts the ball into his own net, giving Liverpool the 3 points. Points that may prove to be crucial in this exciting title race. If you made it to the end of the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and links to Patreon, Instagram and Twitter are all in the description. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.